I will have to start without my host. So I just would like to welcome all of you to the launching of my anthology of poems titled Echoes from the Naked Soul. Uh, I just want to say that I am very overwhelmed at this moment. This is a this is something I thought would never happen because the past few months have been riddled with so much going on in my life. And I shared with someone that this experience, meaning the release of my book, it feels like I am a woman who has carried a child for the 9 months of pregnancy. And now I'm ready to birth this child. And there were doctors and nurses assigned for me on this particular occasion to help me birth this child. And what overwhelms me is that when I am ready now, the doctors and the nurses, they are not around. The assistants that I was expecting to get everything running smoothly, somehow that wasn't there. And after 9 months of carrying this child and the child coming to full term, there's a lot of pain that comes with keeping this child in any longer. And so you have no idea how elated I am to finally have this occasion, even to the very last minute. Challenges come my way, but I thank God that I have a spirit that always pushes forward, perhaps broken for a moment, but somehow I always reach deep down and find the strength to press on. And I am really thankful that I can share this moment with persons that are very dear to me. Everyone here is really very dear to me. I chose not to make this launch be one with a very big audience. I wanted to keep it very intimate and very simple. And so thank you for being here. And I would like to open with prayer. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you and I invite your presence here at the official launching of my book. Father God, I thank you for the gifts and talents that you have bestowed upon me. And I thank you for the friends and family gathered here who know and have been with me on this journey at various points, and they celebrate the work that you have created in me. I thank you, Lord, for your grace and mercies. I thank you, Lord, for the trials that you place before me, because it is only in those trials that I'm able to exercise my faith in you. And so, God, I lift you high, and I thank you for walking with me every step of the way. I hand over the proceedings of this book launch to you, dear Lord, and I ask that you would bless everything so that the event will run smoothly. All these I give thanks for in your precious and holy name. Amen. Okay. It would appear I am having to host my own book launch, unfortunately, because the host is still not here at this moment. Echoes from the Naked Soul. When I came up with the title for the book, the intention was to leave a mark on the lives of every single individual who shares in the reading and sees himself or herself in at least one of the pieces of poetry in this book. It is a book that speaks very openly, very honestly about a number of topics that affect my life and affect the lives of persons that I know, persons in my family. And it is so honest that it was a teary experience for me writing this book. And it was also a very liberating experience. It was liberating because those who know me well, which would be everyone here, know that I am known to have a spirit that brights up a room, a spirit that would be the bright spark on a dull day. But the problem with personalities like that is, I don't know if anyone here knows of a poem called Richard Cory. Is there anyone here who knows of a poem called Richard Cory? Jessica says she does. Now, many times in my life, I have felt like Richard Cory because a lot of persons would see the exterior and not understand the measure of what it is that I go through day by day. And so today is a celebration for me. And I hope that this book will not just bless you, each and every one of you, but it will also liberate you so that you too will feel free to reach in and tell your story. I have two dear friends of mine who are the guest speakers for today's book launch. And I will now open the floor to the first speaker, Petal Farquharson. Now, Petal Farquharson is not only an educator of literature and English, she and I went to Teachers College together. She is now the administrator at Toronto District School. And it is such an honor, Petal, to have you here and to have you speak at this momentous occasion. You are one of my dearest friends, and I couldn't have been honored with anyone else to speak at this time. So I hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm actually in my backyard and there's a noise coming. Can you hear me clearly?
I hear you quite clearly.
Perfect. So thank you so much for this opportunity to share. As an educator, I like to put things on paper. And as an old woman, I have to put things on paper as well because my memory will fade me. So let me just say that Marguerite wears many hats simultaneously. She's a daughter, a mother, teacher, and a friend. Personally, I admire all aspects of her. However, her role as mother quickly rises to the top. Her poem of rebirth and pregnant flower draw on the experiences of being a mother. The imagery is unmistakable. Even as she pays tribute to the queen in her life, she cites all the maternal attributes that she admires in her queen. It is no coincidence that we are all drawn to pet lovers because we know a lot about a human being based on how they treat animals. Her poem entitled All Dogs Go to Heaven taps into that very caring side of Marguerite, and those qualities make her more endearing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the sum total of our lived experiences. And this anthology gives us a vivid insight into Maggie's lived experiences. The challenges and the victories all appear in these poems. The role of religion in her life is evident in the titles and themes of some of the pieces that are in this anthology. Her early childhood, her secondary school years, her adult years, all rise from the words of these very personal poems. My wish for Marguerite is that this anthology will be found in libraries all over the world, and more importantly, be interrogated and dissected in classrooms the world over. Congratulations again, Maggie, and much success to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Petal. Uh, and now I hand over to Canute Lawrence, the second speaker.
Can you all hear me? If you can hear me, let me see a thumbs up. Let me see a thumbs up if you can hear me. I only see one thumb up. Okay, I'm assuming you all can hear me because Petal can hear me. Okay, so good afternoon to you all. I am actually zooming in live from Ghana in West Africa, and it's now almost 6:30 p.m. So it is also my honor to join all of you here and Marguerite, affectionately called by me Maggie, on her very private launch of her book of poetry, her anthology. And I just wanted to say that Maggie and I met at Wilmer's High School for Boys, where we both taught, well, she taught English and literature, and I was teaching at the time Spanish. And when we met at Wilmer's boys' school as colleagues, staff members, we took to each other. So we were in separate departments, she in English and I in Spanish, but we took to each other, and it didn't take us long to realize and to find out that we both had a lot in common, and we still do have a lot in common. So, we both love drama. We both love literature and poetry. We both grew up in the same community, in Olympic Gardens. Many people call it Waterhouse. So we grew up in Waterhouse, which was a working class neighborhood. Some people would call it the ghetto. I'm not sure if I would want to call it that. So we grew up in Waterhouse together. We both passed our common entrance examinations. And, Maggie went to Wilmer's High School for girls, and I went to Wilmer's High School for boys, And like I said, we were, involved a lot in drama and performance and speech. So we were able to relate to each other and with each other on many, many levels. I remember when we were in the staff room one day, and I was encouraging Maggie, to go to university to get her first degree. And, she wasn't sure, and she was very doubtful. And I said, no. I said, I think I had finished university. And I was encouraging her to go, and get her bachelor's because she was very bright, very smart. And eventually she did, and eventually she did. I eventually left Jamaica. And then, there was a pause in our communication, a pause over a number of years. And then we eventually reconnected. It must have been via Facebook, thank God for Facebook sometimes. And then I myself, I wrote some poems, and I published a book. And we have been talking, during that time, telling her to publish her work. And I know she has published many of her works and her children's books and all of that. And I continue to encourage her to publish. Now, when I read when I read most of the poems in her current work, I was actually quite stunned. I was actually quite stunned. I was quite impressed. And I'm not easily impressed when it comes on to, literature and poetry and short stories, because I mean, I've been teaching literature for quite a while. And, Petal said much of what I would have said. I find the poems are beautifully sad. Yeah. Oxymoron. Yeah. I can tell that the experiences in these poems, the stories, the narratives are very raw, are very poignant, are very piercing. So the three P words I have for the pieces, for the masterpieces, they are poignant. Sometimes when I read a few, I literally have to stop because it pierces the heart. It speaks to you in such a powerful way. They're piercing and they're powerful. And I really do think, as Petal said, this anthology should be, I would promote it for it to be in schools, to be in colleges, to be in universities. Gone are the days we read about Claude McKay, Langston Hughes, and Colin, and all those African American poets. And well, Claude McKay, he was also Jamaican. And I grew up thinking that poetry was really written by dead people. So they write the poems, and then it's when they die, then their poems become famous. Well, you know what, Maggie? I think you are here, and we should endeavor for that to change. We need to again tell our stories, publish our stories. So that the younger generation can be inspired, can be empowered, can be motivated. It's all about Black excellence for me. When young kids can see persons like you and me, and knowing that we are still alive and our poetry is out there, that to me is a powerful piece of testament. Yeah. So I just want to say that I love your poems. I love your poems. They make me reflect. They make me think. They make me think critically. They make me stop and pause. They make me look into my own self. They make me want to be a better person. All of those things are what your poems have triggered in me. I read Judas, and in the poem titled Judas, I love the biblical analogy that you use. And again, just the same way we read the story of how Judas betrayed Jesus, and so and during Easter time when I would watch the Christ story, and when Judas betrayed Jesus, I felt as if he betrayed me. I felt betrayed as well. I felt as if it's not just Jesus that was betrayed, but I felt and feel as if I was also betrayed. And that's the same feeling I felt when I read Judas. It's not only personal to the writer, but it's also personal to the reader, because I'm sure many people, many readers, if not all of us, would have felt some form of betrayal in our lives. And so we're able to relate to that. Another poem, All Dogs Go to Heaven. Oh Lord, that one is so touching that it leads me to question. I start to think critically. I wonder if dogs really do have soul, because when it comes onto knowledge and epistemology, it's all about creating knowledge and asking questions. And when I looked back, I reflected back at my childhood, and there was a dog that I grew up with. His name was Rex. He was a an Alsatian dog, beautiful, beautiful dog. And one morning when we woke up, well, I woke up first, and I opened, and he always slept at the step of the back door. So, in Jamaica, dogs sleep outside, well, in my time. And when I opened the door and I saw Rex there, and I was saying, Rex, get up, Rex. And Rex wouldn't move. Rex would not move. And I kept saying, and I think I must have been about maybe like 8 or so, because Rex, I think, was older than me. He was older than me as a child. And I kept saying, Rex, get up, Rex, get up. And he wouldn't move. And I'm trying to lift him up, and he wouldn't move. And I screamed to my sister and I said, Carmen, my Rex is not moving. And then she came to the back door and she said, Rex is dead. And just hearing that as an 8-year-old, it moved me. I became emotional and I was crying, as an 8-year-old, because, Rex, even though he was not, sleeping in the house with us, he was a part of, our family. And, and so Maggie, that poem, All Dogs Go to Heaven, it brought back that memory to me in a very powerful way. And as Petal said, and I believe it, how people treat animals is an indication of their humanity. Yeah, how people treat animals. And I remember, growing up in Jamaica, and this is something that I talk about all the time. Dogs in Jamaica were not treated well. Jamaicans, I think, or many Jamaicans, I can't say most Jamaicans because I've never done a study to see or to find out, but many Jamaicans treat dogs in very cruel ways, And I've never heard or seen or read anywhere where where persons are trying to change that mindset of Jamaicans, who many times, they stone the dogs, they beat them mercilessly. I've seen some gruesome videos. I'm sorry, guys, if that upsets you, but I've seen some very gruesome videos of how dogs are treated in Jamaica. And so, Maggie, the poem, All Dogs Go to Heaven, hopefully when other people read that poem, it will speak to them. That's where this is going. That poem will speak to people and stir up some form of empathy and sympathy and humanity, in persons who read that poem. I don't want to go through all the poems, but I just want to say here, Maggie, that your poems are beautiful. I just want to echo what Petal said. Your poems are beautiful, and it should, I hope you have a good marketing strategy or marketing strategies, because books just don't sell themselves. We have to market our own products as Black people, as people of color. And so I just want to encourage you to continue writing. We spoke yesterday, we spoke today. Your poems, there's a lot of sadness in your poems. And, we're not going to go into those, but you can talk about those, a lot of sadness. And I just want to, to encourage you, that it's in the writing of your experiences and your trials, your tribulations, it's in the writing of them, putting them on paper, that will also help you to find some healing. Yeah. And in finding that healing, when others read your poems, read your work, they too will also find healing in their own lives. So that is my encouragement to you, Maggie. No matter how tough times are, no matter how how dark things or the skies seem to be, continue to tell your stories. It's therapeutic, it is cathartic, it is empowering, it is uplifting. It helps us to find solutions. Yeah, writing, it helps us to find solutions to our own problems. It helps us to navigate, navigate our experiences. So I just want to congratulate you on this launch and to congratulate you on the publication of your anthology. And I will be getting mine quite soon. I'm in Africa right now, but as soon as I get back to Toronto, I will definitely be getting a copy in my hand. And of course, you have to sign my copy. So again, Marguerite Anderson, congratulations on a job well done.
You're muted, Maggie. You're muted.
Thank you very much, Canute. I must apologize for disappearing just now. My internet just went, and you have no idea. I was in a frenzy. I was panicking. Again, God is good. Though trials stand in the way, this is ordained to happen. I want to apologize for not introducing Canute to you all. Now, Canute said that he and I worked together at Women's Boys. I don't know how much of himself Canute told you, because in my blunder I didn't. But let me just say that Canute is the best-selling author of Pathology of a Pandemic, and you can Google that and you will find his book. So yes, Canute, I'm promoting your book too. And he is a face of Jamaican theater, being part of the Panto people, pantomime, all these years prior to his relocating to Canada. So many times you would have gone to pantomime and you're not even realizing that he is one of the key players on the stage. All right, thank you very much, Canute. It would seem as if I missed all of what you said. I suppose the recording would have stopped when I got booted out.
No, it didn't, because you made me host. So it was still recording.
Fantastic.
Yes,
fantastic. Yes. I am relieved to hear that. Canute, I would ask, first of all, you need to check your WhatsApp. Now, my host, as I told you, she is not here. And so I am going to have to ask Canute to multitask and engage me in some questions relating to the writing process. Canute, are you up to it?
Okay, I will try my best. I will try my best.
All
Can you
right.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I sent you a quick message on your WhatsApp. Did you see that?
Well, no, because I'm not looking at my WhatsApp. I'm in this launch.
Okay. All right.
Yes, I'm not looking at my WhatsApp at all.
Okay,
I remember I was actually speaking. So
yes.
I can only focus on one thing at a time.
Oh,
so when people talk about multitasking, I keep saying I don't know what you're talking about, because if you're doing one thing, you can't be doing 2 and 3 things at the same time. I just don't see that happening, So for me personally, I don't believe in multitasking. So if I'm doing one thing, I'm focused on that one thing. When I finish that one thing, then I will go to something else.
Understood.
Right.
I just want to say thank you to Petal Farquharson, Mrs. Petal Farquharson, and to you, Canute Lawrence, for delivering at this launch. Canute, I'm going to have to enjoy your delivery when I watch the recording.
Exactly.
All right. So The floor is open. Ask me anything about
Okay.
the book.
So Mag, I'm going to call you
I'm
Maggie.
sorry, I see a raised hand. Petal, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I have to leave on the hour because I have another commitment. But I just wanted to ask a quick question. Can you, if you permit me?
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing. Are you muted?
No, nobody's hearing me.
I can
Yes,
hear
I'm
you,
hearing
Petal. I
you
can hear
now.
you.
Okay. So Canute, if you will just permit me just to ask a question. And
Sure,
also,
sure.
Canute, I sent
I'm
you a
not
private
hearing.
message
I'm not hearing. It's
on
very low.
Zoom. So I did not realize you were in Toronto. I live in
Yes.
Toronto. I'm actually in my backyard. So we probably should connect at some point for
I'm
coffee.
sorry. I'm not hearing.
Yes.
Not
Interesting.
hearing.
Maggie, you're not hearing me?
Not hearing.
Not hearing. She's not hearing.
All right, go ahead. I am using a headphone. Let me see if this will work.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead,
Yes?
Petal.
You can hear me?
I'm hearing now. Wonderful.
All right. So, Marguerite, a number of the poems were very personal, very personal, and to borrow a word from Canute, very raw. I would like to know, how did you get yourself into that zone to A, relive such traumatic experiences, and B, to put it on paper in such a poignant way that us, the reader, was taken into this trauma with you? How did you put yourself into that writing position to deliver something so traumatic yet so poignant?
First of all, let me just say, Petal, that if literature does not do that meaning draw you in so that you can also share in the experience of the writer. If literature has not accomplished that, then it is not literature. It is not deemed literature. And I have been blessed to have amazing teachers of literature whose impact on my life produce the way I am able to write and the way I am able to transfer the pain and the joy, what should I say, the death and the rebirth and all the emotions enveloped in this anthology. Thanks to these teachers and professors of literature, I learned the art. And I take this moment to call the names of these. Two of them from high school, Mrs. Grace Beckford, who taught me from first to third form, and Mrs. Anne Gervan, who taught me in fourth and fifth form. And might I add, this book is dedicated to Mrs. Anne Gervan. I think of her and I thank her each day for unmuting my voice. And I will speak later on about what it is that muted my voice and how it is that I was unmuted. I'll speak later on about that. And then I moved on to university. Well, I went to Teachers College, but nobody really impacted me there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But the impact of Edward Baugh and Professor Mervyn Morris at the University of the West Indies. I recall just sitting in class and I would be like sponge soaking up their words. And Edward Baugh, he speaks very slowly. And every single time he read a piece of literature, I was in awe of even the delivery of that piece of literature. These two compounded my love for poetry. Now, as it relates to the potency of the words in action, I have always been the kind of person, it is easy to immerse me in your pain. So much so that sometimes it is best for me not to know what you're going through, because then I carry that burden with you. And sometimes it burdens me even more. And because I feel deeply, it was nothing. It took nothing out of me to transfer that pain or that joy or that disappointment and the myriad of emotions in the poems. It was nothing for me. The minute I set pen to paper, it would naturally come out.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your response, Maggie. Petal, do you have any other questions before we move on?
I don't, but I just want to take the opportunity, because I'm running at the next 5 minutes, to once again say congratulations, Marguerite. And I mean, the imagery you used about giving birth to this child, I know that you would not have used any other imagery, because you're an excellent mother. And I admire you. I respect you. I appreciate the evolution of you. You said nobody impacted you at Teachers College, but that's not true. I know that we have developed a beautiful relationship, and I can now say, I'm very proudly say, I knew you when. So congratulations, and the sky's the limit. And kudos to you, my friend. Love you much.
Thank you. And just to clarify, when I said no one impacted me, I was making reference to my teacher of literature. Absolutely not. Dear friends like you, Petal. Only the teachers that brought me to this platform where I am able to write and produce the kind of poetry that will inject all the emotions in my own readers. Yes.
Okay, Petal, thank you for that. Thank you for your question. And I know you have to go off to another meeting, so hopefully we'll be able to meet in Toronto at some point when I get back. Okay. Okay. So Maggie, I have a question for you. So because many of your poems are pregnant with emotions, particularly emotions that cause one to feel some sadness and, you know, nostalgia, sometimes a feeling of despondency. What in the process of writing these experiences down, how does that help you as a person? How does that help you, if it does? And if so, in what ways?
It certainly does. For one, I keep a lot bottled in. It is a case where many times I wear my emotions on my sleeve, yes, so you can tell that I'm going through something. However, most of the times I don't talk. And so as I wrote, each poem I wrote, I was able to exhale. It was all a part of therapy, some healing process for me as I wrote the poems in this book. And for the first time, I was able to talk about them. I was able to dare to share my pain, because I wrote knowing very well that I'm writing for the world. I'm writing to send my pain out into the world, to send everything out into the world. And I was ready. I was ready. And I am ready. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, okay. So, so when you, because as a writer myself, so when you write and you talk about painful experiences, especially some experiences that people are still unwilling to talk about, certain experiences, you know, do you feel do you feel a sense of release and relief when you do that? Because when we talk about things like pregnancy, especially when we were growing up, you know, pregnancy and the shame and disgrace that would come upon or would be placed on the young woman, not the man. When we talk about issues of mental health, which again, you know, when we were growing up in Jamaica, no one took that seriously. No one took mental health seriously. And if someone was experiencing a mental health challenge, you know, they were either hidden or laughed at or teased or exiled, you know. And so those are some of the issues, some of the topics and some of the issues I see in your poems. So did you have to go through any struggle to make the decision that you were going to talk about these issues up front and center?
Yes, it was a struggle. I wrestled with the inner voice that said, keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Because you see, I was raised in the 70s. And most of you here would be from that era. And I can tell you that there's a slogan, very popular since I was a child. It says, children must be seen and not heard. And I grew up in a home where I saw some things and we couldn't talk about it. I saw things that a child should not see. I had to be silent about things that happened to children around me. I had to be accepting of physical abuse, and I was socialized to not see it as physical abuse. And in my adult years, when I see the way slaves were whipped, I am able to compare and say, how different was it from the whipping that I got, the whipping that we got? It was so commonplace, and I thought it was okay, but it's not okay. It's not okay because it left scars on this child. This adult child still carries those scars. They are hidden behind this smile, but they are, they fester sometimes as if they were just executed, you know, as if they were just imposed. And so much so that I use my childhood years and I use my life experiences to dictate what it is I should not do in the life of my own children. And the danger is, because I'm a product of my socialization, there are times when I find myself even trapped within that time capsule and I'm doing what was done to me. And I weep when I catch a hold of myself and I apologize to my children. So I am constantly teaching myself, I am relearning to not be what I saw, to not be what I lived.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And part of that relearning is to also unlearn what we learned. So it's a process. We have to unlearn some of what we learned, and then we have to relearn the things that that make us better.
Yes.
I see. I'm going to go. I see a question from. There was a question in chat, I think, and I'm going to read it. I think it's from Rashima Simpson. And well, there are two questions. I see two questions. I'm going to ask, so what sort of impact do you want your poems to have on people? That's the first question, Maggie. what sort of impact do you want to see your poems have on people?
Okay. First of all, I would like for persons out there to unburden themselves. One of the topics uh, in my anthology has to do with mental illness. Far more of us walk around with mental illness than we each realize. We might have a little toops of it, and it might be full blown. But there is such a thin line between sanity and insanity. And the pace of the world and the way of the world is of such that it is easy for depression to creep into our lives, into your life, into my life. And this is an invisible, mental illness is an invisible disease. And we carry so much around that we allow, unconsciously, yes, but we allow that disease to root itself. We are such proud people and such private people that there are times we don't want to share. And we don't want to feel exposed. And so we would not, for example, want to talk about the way we feel. But I'll tell you this. Maya Angelou says that there are things in our lives that will make us angry. And I'll quote her very words. You should be angry. You must, however, not be bitter. Bitterness is like cancer. It eats upon the heart. It eats upon the host, rather. It doesn't do anything to the object of its displeasure. So what should you do? You're supposed to use that anger. Maya Angelou says you must write it. You must paint it. You must dance it. You must march it. You must talk to it. Never stop talking to it. But the one thing you must never do is to keep it bottled up inside. And so I write. I write to release that anger. I write to empower the persons who are going through similar situations. I write to say to persons out there, it is okay to be vulnerable, because whether you want to believe it or not, no one out there is perfect. They are carrying a weight. They are carrying something, a deep, dark secret, and they just want somebody to say it is okay, somebody to set the pace and say, by example, by an iota of bravery, I am telling my story. And you can empower someone to tell his or her story. And that is part of the therapy that's needed for mental health to reign supreme.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Maggie. I mean that, yeah, your words are very true and very sincere. And I agree with you that, when it's, I mean, I also feel that just like physical health, we get a headache, a tummy ache, migraine, whatever, people, diabetics, and just like physical health, we're also disposed to mental health. And I do believe, I know just from what I've observed and from reading many, academic articles, that there are more people walking around with mental health illnesses that we even care to imagine. There are a lot of people, so the same way we can get afflicted physically, then of course we can get afflicted mentally. And it's time for us to talk about it some more and make it normal to talk about it, so that this stigma is no longer there. It's not witchcraft, it's not this, it's not that, it's just mental health, and our body pain can affect our mind, and our mind can affect our body. So both of them go hand in hand, physical illness and mental illness. And it's time for us to, to normalize it, so that people who are going through issues, can feel comfortable, to talk to someone, because it is again, it is the sharing of our experiences, the sharing of our stories, that we can help to empower, uplift, unload the burden that people have. Okay, so Maggie, before I go to the second question, I'm going to ask you to share one of your poems. Anyone you want to share with us?
All right. I'm excited about that. I would like to share Rasta Chant. Let me just find the page here. Now I'll tell you a little about Rasta Chant, what inspired this poem, Rasta Chant, at page 39. One moment. Now, quite a while back, a few years ago, there was a video circulating on Facebook. Well, that's where I came across the video. It was of a woman. It was in a very public place. On a sidewalk, there seemed to be a Rasta man. I think he appeared to be a vendor, if I recall accurately enough. He appeared to be a vendor, and there was a woman screaming at him, just rebuking him for something, but she called him despicable names, and she hit him. She pounded against his body with her fist. She was contemptuous. And the man, that gentle Rastafarian man, he, oh my gosh, even as I think about it now, the Rastafarian man, he never retaliated. He just took all the blows, all the insults. It was public, and a few persons were laughing at him, but the fact is everyone just stood by, and it was a spectacle to behold. And I was embarrassed. As a woman, I was embarrassed. I was so embarrassed because I have great respect for Rastafarians. I believe that Rastafarians show such honor to women, even in the very use of the terminologies they give to their women, like empress, and to defile that purity that embodies a Rastafarian, to me, it is a colossal crime. And this is what this woman did. She didn't stop until the Rasta man, I guess his cup was full, and he retaliated, and he started hitting her back and kicking her. And listen, I know the feminist critic would hit out at me in this case. But at that moment, I said under my breath, serve her right. Now, I do not endorse physical abuse, but this woman is typical of the women who beat men, and because men are men, society does not defend them. So, in that light, I will now proceed to read the poem, Rasta Chant. How dare you spit upon his garb, this peaceful brother who by nature only loves, when you should have been his Rasta queen, your ghastly behavior drew a scene. And I, woman just like you, hang my head in shame as you defile our name. Selassie, I know, said the Rasta man, took a deep breath. to honor his philosophy. But like a lamb to the slaughter, he was reduced in front of the whole community. He sought calm in his Rasta chant, swallowed his pride, turned the next cheek, and with human dignity. Yet that pouncing Jezebel, Delilah, demon Pickney, shameless femininity, minimized her king, cared nothing that he is masculine. She is no empress, and certainly not a idle daughter. She mocked and cursed him, bullied him, and sullied his character, vilified him as the onlookers magnified, scorned, mistreated, and humiliated. But when upon each other their backs were turned, the fury in the lion roared. And in that moment, he went against his Rasta chant and knocked her flat on her face. I won't apologize for feeling appeased, for you are a disgrace to the female race.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. You know, while you were reading it, I was all sorts of, all sorts of thoughts were swirling in my head. Because, in North America, meaning Canada and USA particularly, in the Western world, we're talking about equality of the genders. And a lot of people have, very different voices when it comes to women fighting men and men fighting women. And I've always said that, women can't talk about equality, and then if women are the aggressors and decide to slap, hit, a man, and many times the men, take it. Many times they take it. But if they continuously and continually hit the man, then women, I believe, should be prepared for the man to retaliate. Women can't feel that, okay, a man should not hit a woman no matter what. I don't believe a man should hit a woman. I don't believe so. Okay, but I'm not encouraging men to hit women. Neither am I encouraging women to hit men. But if a woman decides that she's going to go foot to foot with a man who may be bigger than her physically, taller than her, and obviously has more power and strength in his body, and if she decides to hit, and I mean, it's not like the hits and the punches are not, he's not feeling them. You're hitting a man in his face, in his eye, in his nose. Those are sensitive points. Those are sensitive points of the body. And if a woman continues to do that, the man is going to retaliate because guess what? Because we're humans. We're humans. We're not supermen. We're humans. And so it raises, that poem raises a bigger question of the point of domestic violence, and should a woman really hit a man? A man should not hit a woman. That's old school for me. But should a woman hit a man? Especially hitting the man unprovoked. Okay. If it's just a little one hit, you push the man and thing. Okay, I'm not promoting it, but fine. But it's the hit where you are punching and you keep doing it, thinking that the man is a little softy, and it's scoring social media points. Because a lot of times people do it to score social media points. And so it gives us a lot to think about, because I saw the video. The man eventually, he retaliated because his cup, I guess, became full. And what if he had hit her to the point where she hit her head on a wall or a metal and died? It's the man who would have been, prosecuted, and he would have been in jail, unfortunately. So it gives us a lot to think about. So that poem is you're providing a lot of fodder for critical analysis, for critical consciousness, where how do we negotiate this issue of violence among, and I'm saying among because there are persons who um claim other genders. They don't claim to be female or male. They say that they're intersexed or two-spirited. So we have to honor those persons. If they say that they don't want to be referred to as he or him, we have to respect that, and respecting people for their choices doesn't mean that we are necessarily in agreement, but we have to respect people's views, people's truth. You and I may not understand it, but if they want to be called they, then I think we should respect people and call and refer to them the way that they self-identify. So thank you very much, Maggie. Yes, so your poems are causing all kinds of things. Okay, so let me go back to here and into chat. There was another question. So Maggie, one more question. I think it's from Rashima Simpson. How far do you see yourself and your love for poetry going? Do you see yourself and your work being highlighted and recognized on an international scale? Let me read that again. How far do you see yourself and your love for poetry going? Do you see yourself and your work being highlighted and recognized on an international scale?
All right. Thank you, Rashima, for that question, or the two parts of that question. Let me address the first part. Well, my love for poetry, I wanted to take me to where I am writing poetry when I am in my rocking chair, all gray haired, perhaps toothless, but still very fab. I expect that my love for poetry would have me writing poetry until the day I die. I expect that my love for poetry will ignite an interest in poetry in the students that I teach, who may not at that time even deem that they are able to write poetry. But later on, they find themselves writing poetry, and like myself, when I was in high school, I never dreamed that I'd be writing poetry. When I was in teachers college, I never dreamed that I'd be writing poetry. But when I found myself writing poetry, I was able to trace back and see who is it that brought me to this place where I am able to write poetry. And that is why I can mention the specific persons, lecturers, teachers who impacted my life. So that is how far I expect my love for poetry to go. I want to see Caribbean people in particular embrace the arts. And poetry, the writing of poetry, is a part of embracing the arts. Persons are looked upon as a, first of all, let me just say that artists, creative people, they fall on two ends of the scale. You can be an artist, and just being an artist makes you broke, because a lot of times they don't get paid, but they are the face and they are the foundation of art, and their work moves you. But it is not an easy world to be an artist in whatever form or shape. And then, of course, you have the other scale where your art can cause you to live comfortably. Many artists out there, they are not living comfortably, but they do not give up what they do because they love what they do. And the quality of life is to enjoy what you do. And so that is why I will forever be writing poetry. Now, in response to the latter part of your question, you ask if I see my work being highlighted. if I desire or see myself being recognized on an international scale, wow, wouldn't that be something? I know it is possible because I know that the authenticity of poems that have colored the world over, the great poets that I studied, I know that their poems were so potent because of the passion that they were able to evoke, all the emotions they were able to evoke. And so I believe when I write, I put all of that same ingredient in my poetry. And as a result, I am confident that my poems can get to international scale. There is one thing, however, that I do desire. I desire for my poems to be among those studied by our Caribbean students sitting the CSEC examination, our Caribbean students sitting the Cape Literatures in English examination. That is one of my chief desires for my poetry.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you so much. Yes. Yes, I do share I do share the same question that you know, if you know, once we as writers and once our work gets out there, then I mean, without being shy about it, I mean, you know, our work should go as far as possible, you know, far and wide, and make an impact on the world, you know, in positive ways, in positive ways. And like I said, I mean, if your work is able to inspire others, to provide joy, to provide healing, to provide peace, to provide solace, if our work can do that, then, you know, we are living our purpose. We're living our purpose. And I just want to take this opportunity to say to the rest of the attendees here, now that you know that Marguerite's book is out and her anthology of poems is out, it is also our responsibility. You know, we have to promote each other. We have to, you know, market each other, promote each other, tell others about it. You know, I believe in that. In the whole African adage about you know, it's the community. The community is what supports us. You know, and I think we need to go back to that old ways, ancient ways of supporting each other. You know, I think those days kind of they're kind of gone. I think, you know, especially in Jamaica, I think some people, not all, tend to think that if they promote someone else, if they highlight your accomplishments, if they big you up, then you're keeping yourself down because you feel as if they're going to take something away from you, and that's total BC bull crap. Not the other one, people. It's total bull crap. Yes. You know, so I feel that the more we support others, the more we promote others, the more we highlight others and push them towards success, that will also push us towards success. So whatever my talents are, you know, and I know others will support me. And whatever your talents are, we support each other, you know. And I'm happy that I can look within myself and say that I am happy when I see other people writing and publishing. You know, it took friends of mine who encouraged me. And so if other people encourage me, people who are professors, you know, they never had to. And so when I see other people buying my book and says, you know, Canute, I love your poems and I would love to write poetry, I'm like, you know what, go for it. Go for it. So we should never discourage other people from going after their dreams, going after their goals. Maggie, are you with us still?
I am here, my dear. I am right here.
Yes, I'm seeing your gorgeous picture. I'm not seeing your image. I'm seeing a gorgeous picture of you. So Maggie, I'm going to ask you to to share another of your poems with us.
All right. I will share, well, let me just say, I have 4 favorite poems in this anthology of 40 poems. And I would love to share the 4.
Okay, so
I
go for
don't
it.
know if time will permit, because I
It is
also
now
would like,
it is now 7:30. Yes.
all right, so I would like to share the 4. Um, may I go ahead and just share them back to back?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, all right. Uh, Old Hag. Old Hag, page 17. Let's go there. Bursting with enthusiasm and passion at the seam, she entered and sat in the room. Intent on telling them it is good to dream, she showed them the proof in the books, taught them that centuries of change had granted them free access to being visible. Their eyes gleamed with purpose, to think their dreams were permissible. Like prisoners who had fully served their time, they now strapped hope on their backs and promise in their hearts when she told them that the condition was benign. And with tireless exhilaration, there she stood and invited them to stand. And she healed their broken wings with her magic wand. But just when they were to fly, there came a shrieking cry as the old hag swooped in on her systematic broom, stole their dreams, left them gagged. Now, let me just say, I am ruffling feathers to even publish this, because the old hag is a metaphor for the education system that suppresses foreign children who has lived in a foreign country. They, they are high achievers, but because of politics, they are robbed of the achievement or the accolade or the award or the praise. They are wounded because the education system does not acceptably recognizes that child who has worked hard and who is worthy of the accolade. Another favorite of mine is What Love Begets. And I will remind you that this book will expose persons and upset persons and systems, but this is my truth. And I was talking with my dear friend Knut, and I was sharing with him that one of the scariest things for me is knowing how this will expose some people and expose some truth. And he said to me, you know, it is your truth, and you have a right to share your truth. Whoever it upsets has the freedom to share his or her or their own truth. And so I share my truth in this anthology, Echoes from the Naked Soul. I will now read What Love Begets. The mother loved him before she met him. On days when her love posed a threat, she gambled with her health and cradled him against her breast and clenched her teeth to preserve the gift her love begets. She supposed that with this seed her soul could soar free, and he, her gentle dove, would one day bring her comfort from all the men who gave her unreciprocated love. The day came when, in her jubilee, the mother held him close as he suckled. She journeyed with him through desert lands, and her love planted seeds that sprouted fruits from the sand. Then one day, in a cataclysmic transform, he despised the graceful garlands on his head, and instead, she bled from the blow of his knuckles. She watched him pluck the pendants from his neck, and in his unreciprocated love, the mother was decked. She nurtured him still, for love bears all. And so, in her hospice, she held him close. For what does he know? What does he truly know of love's austere and lonely offices? And I will leave it at that. No comment.
Yes, indeed. That one was a lot. No comments indeed. There was it's an avalanche of emotions, sadness and anger and exasperation, and at the same time trying to find hope. So we will truly leave it at that. Okay, on to your third, Maggie.
Okay, all right. I have to exhale because, like I say, this anthology is an unburdening of my soul. So each time that I am reading, I'm sharing, it is a release. Let me just say, it is a release for me. Now, this next poem is titled Undress Me. Sometimes I wish you would undress me. Let me show you what is in the castle of my skin. Undress my thoughts, heavily draped in layers of fabric. Fabric made to conceal the brainwashed child within. Undress me so I may share how in my seemingly perfect world they took the innocence of a little girl. If only I knew I wore my fate like a scarlet letter. If only I knew, then I might have changed things for the better. Everything about him was like a red flag, waving urgently as this doe blew closer to her stag. But when at age 18, my family had already pushed me out, he opened his door and gave me a sanctuary, no doubt. Over time, the disgraced news of his physical abuse reached their ears. My innocence left me. I had lived up to their worst fears. When my face showed the darkened blows of his anger, my family admonished me for my ill judgment. They too injured the child with their spears and dagger. A frightened, trapped, and powerless girl in an unwanted situation had merely become a mirror of her socialization. I wish when my family criticized, you had undressed me to uncover the disguise. When they cursed and gloated in their secret meetings and justified themselves with their lies, when they became judge and jury, serve her right. They seemed to say, pity no one told them that they and the community that raised me taught me to debase me. Undress me. Let me show you why I allowed abuse in my life. When for years I witnessed abuse next door on either side, the neighbors didn't close off the horror with their fences. This frightened little girl saw how men hammered, kicked, stabbed, grabbed and threw heavy fists at their human punching bags. Yes, women who these men say they loved, women who, in men's beguile, bore their love child, human punching bags that were frail and yet strong, had to have been strong to endure the pain for so long. The woman never walked out. Maybe it really wasn't easy. On my breast, life's history placed my scarlet letter. If you thought I was lucky raised in my Christian den, then sad to say, abuse is not only ascribed to non-Christian men. In my family, men of the cloth had their punching bags too. Yes, the deacons and the ministers have their time in the boxing ring. So undress me now before this heavy clothing causes me to think. I wish someone had undressed me, revealed my nakedness, ungagged my mouth, for my thoughts are burdened by a life of doubt. Undress the secrets heavily buried in the memory of the child who was taught to be silent but learned to relent. Undress them too. Show the hypocrites they are. Undress them now so that maybe they would all repent.
Hmm. Wow. That that one is heavy. That one, Maggie, is extremely heavy. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, heavy, heavy, heavy. I'm thinking aloud. I think up like undress me now. I'm going to ask you to, if you can, do some research and find out where there are poetry festivals. I mean, I know with COVID, those things are kind of on the back seat for now. But I would love to, to share the stage with you at some poetry festivals, in the near future, because a poem like that, Undress Me Now, is extremely powerful, extremely poignant, extremely piercing, and it would cause a lot of stir, because I like how you use the word on the term undress me, and it's almost like a double entendre, where it has a double meaning, very provocative, so it's very provocative, undress me, almost very sexual, but of course, but the deeper meaning is not about having sex, it's to reveal, you know the truth, you know show me, I want to show you the truth, what is going on. Undress me. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, so my Zoom audience. So it's now 7:40, well, because I'm in Ghana. So it's 7:45 in Ghana, but in Jamaica it's what? It's 2:45? Yes. In Jamaica it's 2:45. So we have another 15 minutes left, and Maggie's gonna read one more poem. If anybody would like to ask Maggie a few questions before we clock out at 3, please have your questions ready. Yes, please have your questions ready. Maggie, that poem was a really, really heavy one. Rashima says, very beautiful and powerful poem. So proud of you, Marguerite. That's from Rashima. Okay, can you take us into your fourth and final poem, please?
All right. Now, I want you to put your seatbelts on for this one, because I write about anything that moves me, anything that moves me. And so this poem has to do with sexuality. Are your seatbelts on?
Yes, yes.
All right, here goes. It is entitled A Woman's Anthem. My jewel, my pearl, my shrine, my honeysuckle. Through crowds of courtiers, men still jostle. I apologize not for my vulgarity. For whatever name you give it, it is a beauty. And you render yourself in diligent duty. There's no denying that my feminine power far supersedes your phallic tower. Admit it. You dream of my walls clasped against your hard-fleshed pistol. As our bodies meet in the rapture of our delightful brawls. Perhaps you even want to dine. Come, seat yourself between my shrine. I'll tease and bring you to your knees. I am glad I am woman. I couldn't care less that you are weakened by this tantalizing temptress. So come to me now. Let me imprison you in my velvet purse. Your phallic aches I will gladly nurse. Lose yourself in the captivity of my rosebud. Taste the delightful treat of my twat. Cleave onto the slippery slopes of my duck.
I love it. I love it. I know. You know, I love the fact that you are bold enough to no, because again, I mean, a poem like that, 40, 50 years ago, would not have graced the cover or the pages of any anthology because society would say, polite society, and I put polite in quotation
Oh
marks.
yes, oh
Polite
yes.
society would say that that it's unbecoming of a woman to talk about
Unbecoming.
those things. You know,
Unbecoming.
so it's unbecoming. So you are changing that narrative and saying, you know what? First of all, I am a woman. I'm a
Oh yes.
sophisticated woman,
Oh
and
yes.
nothing is wrong with talking about sex. Nothing's
There
wrong.
you
So you are
go. There
putting
you
it out
go.
there, and you are trying to demystify and the issue of women talking about loving, enjoying sex. Men talk about it in public. Men talk about it, and when men talk about it, it is okay, society says,
Okay,
because
exactly.
men are supposed to be superior to
Exactly.
women. And then when
Mm-hmm.
women talk about it now, then it's an issue. So I love the fact that you have put forth and put forward this poem to demystify and to remove the stigma of women, owning their sexuality, owning
Yes,
it.
yes,
Nothing's
definitely.
wrong with it.
Definitely. And
It's beautiful.
may I add, I have everything that you just said. I tied up that owning of my sexuality in a very short poem. I'm going to just share it real quickly. It's also one of the poems in the anthology, and it is titled Findings from the Diary of a Hot-Blooded Woman. Society sure has a lot to say on how middle-aged women should behave. Who dares to sanction that fire still alive inside? In this, her 50th year, she curses her sex drive, for she has prayed for years for someone to love, imposed voluntary abstinence to honor the man above. Perhaps she shall marry at 65. Until then, the fight continues, for she must thrive. And so, on behalf of all hot-blooded women, she scribes. That's it. It's very short
Bravo,
poem.
bravo, bravo, bravo,
So
Maggie,
I write
bravo.
For all the women who
Bravo.
are afraid
Okay.
to say, I am a sexual being, and it's not only a man who has the right to have a big appetite for sex, but I have a big appetite for sex, and I make no apology about that.
You know what? Good on you. Good on you. Good on you. Yes, good on you. And I too have a big appetite. Period. Okay. So
right.
let me go to chat and see what's going on. Let me go to chat. So yes, so Rashima did say very beautiful and powerful poem. So proud of you. Jessica is LOLLLL. You guys are hilarious. You guys are hilarious. You know, wonderful, wonderful. So I don't think anyone has any questions. I think they're all.
I'm
I think they're.
disappointed.
I think no, no, you know what? No, don't be disappointed, Maggie. Don't be disappointed. I think they're
Okay.
all enjoying. I think they're all enjoying, and they're
Okay.
taking it in. They're taking it in. They're taking it in. You
All
know, so
right.
I can, yes, they're taking it in. And like again, you know, your poems are beautiful. Your poems are beautiful, and really there seems to be a poem in your anthology for everybody. For the
Believe
50-year-old
you me,
woman,
there is. There is.
for the 50-year-old woman and above who are experiencing mental health issues, for persons who experience domestic abuse, for persons who are dealing with different types of traumas and love and loss, you know, persons who believe in treating animals, you know, with compassion. So there is something there, you
Yes.
know, for everyone. And I salute you. And again, I congratulate you. We will be talking after this. You know that I've been pushing my poem. I've been marketing my poems, you know, far and wide. And I can pass on some tips to you as well, how you can market your book, how you can market your work, because that's important. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah. I would like to say, Knut,
yes, guys, go ahead. Go ahead.
everyone who is here, I have each of you on WhatsApp. I'm going to send you the link. If anyone is interested in a downloadable copy of this book, it is for $5.99 US. I will send you the link. You can keep the link for when.
Why don't you, can you send the link right here? Can you send the link right here?
Sure, I can.
Yes, yes, I am.
Also, pretty soon the book will be in bookshop. It is just a matter of waiting for the physical book to come from the printery. Otherwise, you purchase the downloadable copy, and you can also purchase from Amazon. I'm going to send the link for the downloadable copy right here, and
Okay.
I will also have a few physical copies on me.
Okay.
By next week. If anyone wishes
Okay.
to reach out to me, you can get your own copy signed
Well,
by.
so Maggie, you know that I'm going to be in Jamaica in early September because I'm going to be there for 2 months. So
Yes,
please to
yes.
have my copy ready
Of
and
course,
signed.
of course.
And I
And
also
signed.
want a copy of that children's book for my little
Okay.
nephew. So
Yes.
I'm going to be getting yeah.
Thank you, Knut. Thanks for mentioning children's book. A few of you here may not yet know, but I author children's educational books as well. The name of my company is Brain Edibles Collection. You can Google Brain Edibles Collection, and you may have kids, grandkids, niece, nephew, or it's just a friend who has kids. Please just share the good news with others, so that they will be able to benefit, their children rather would be able to benefit from the books in my collection of educational books. All right.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So when you share the link here, if people can copy the link, they'll have the
I'm
link.
going to do that now. So I'm turning off my camera to do that. So yeah.
Okay. So while you're doing all of that, oh, so Rashima says, I'll be back in Jamaica mid-August. Okay, I lost that. Rashima says, I will be in Jamaica in mid-August. Please to have mine
All
signed and
right.
put away until I return. Thank you. So Rashima says you're to
Def-
save her copy as well. She will be in Jamaica in
definitely.
mid-August. Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Okay, so it has been a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. I'm so happy that I was able to join. Actually, I was down to us. So the link is there, guys. The link is there. The link is there, guys. So get the link right there. I was downtown. I was in Accra today. I went to meet with um, the ambassador, Dr. Erica Bennett of the Diaspora African Forum Mission. And I also gifted her a copy of my best-selling book, Pathology of a Pandemic. We had a wonderful meeting this morning. And after I had a meeting with her, I went to the Ghana Parliament to meet up with a senator who also got copies of my book, and he's going to be promoting it amongst the parliamentarians and the minister, the Ghanaian Minister of Education. So, I talk about these things because, I mean, I want to, to motivate and let Maggie know that, you know what, anything we want to achieve, we can. Anything we want to achieve, we can. So it doesn't make sense. I not say anything or hide because I don't want anybody to achieve the same level of success that I have achieved. No, we need to share and help to uplift and inspire others. So with that being said, it is now 3 minutes to 3. Maggie, I'm going to leave you with the final word. And thank you so much to all the attendees here. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys have been inspired, and whatever gifts and talents God has blessed you with, it may not be writing, it may be something else, please to utilize your gifts and talents to the glory of God. You may be a baker, bake your pudding, bake your cake, make a greater cake. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you all have. Each of you right here, you have a talent. You have a talent, and you may look at Maggie and say, "Oh my God, Maggie's a writer, but I can't write." Well, if you can't write, there's something else that you can do that Maggie and I can't do. Some of you are very, very good at cutting here, at this, at that, So we all have to find our talent and utilize that talent to the best of our ability and take it to the next level. Okay, it's now 2:58. Maggie, you have the last 2 minutes.
All right. First, let me just say thank you. Thank you to my speakers, dear friends, Petal Farquharson and Canute. You are amazing. At the very last moment when my host, I am sure it is for a reason beyond her control, she could not be here. You stepped in and you step up. Lord, I must say, oh, me so blessed. We have good friends, so good friend better than pocket money. Thank you so much, Canute. I was very entertained by you. And this book launch, I almost thought it wouldn't have happened. I mean, you all saw that even in the midst of it taking place, the challenges came when the internet went. But to God be glorified, it has happened. And I am so thankful that you, all of you here, you were able to share it with me. Spread the word. You will not do me or do the literary world any good if you leave this forum and this book launch ends here. You don't move on to tell somebody about Echoes from the Naked Soul. Tell them about Echoes from the Naked Soul. Yes? Purchase Echoes from the Naked Soul. Please breathe into Caribbean poets, because it would be great to pick up books 20 and 40 years from now and see the work of Caribbean poets. The great ones like the Professor Mervyn Morris and the Edward Baugh, they would be long gone. But we need new writers, we need fresh meat. And that is why I'm here. So let us, as Canute said, support each other, support our Caribbean writers.
Writers.
And thank you again for attending.
Bye, folks. Wonderful. Have a great
Have a great
rest of the afternoon.